they're head over heels for him. We saw it this week. They were one of two coaches at Kenny Pickett's pro day in Pitt. Excuse me. Matt Rule was the other one. And then in a crowd of fans, I've never seen fans at a pro day, but they were there just going nuts for Malik Willis. This was the biggest thing that's ever happened to that school, ever. And Mike Tomlin, Kevin Colbert, Brandon Hunt, I don't remember who else was there, all in attendance, flew pretty much overnight because Pitts was yesterday, and we're there bright and early, smiling, cheesing, and people were losing their freaking minds. Okay, as you can all see, Kevin Colbert, Mike Tomlin, Brandon Hunt, big old smiles as Malik Willis is running down, cheering, going nuts, just threw a bomb. I think that's how it ended. People, the caption of this photo is chills, and the comments just go on about how amazing the photo is. We get it. The photo is pretty great. Do you make anything out of this? Is there anything to make out of Mike Tomlin, Kevin Colbert, and Brandon Hunt just cheesing away at a dude right in front of us?
The Steelers have been very bad about keeping their draft crushes to themselves. I mean, we saw it with Devin Bush. We saw it with Najee Harris. I mean, there were rumblings of Malik Willis before we even stepped into the Reese Senior Bowl. We left the Reese Senior Bowl with, oh my God, the Steelers are going to trade the farm to make sure Malik Willis ends up in black and gold. And then they sign Mitch Trubisky. It's like, all right, maybe the need for a quarterback has calmed down a little bit. Maybe they want to see if they can squeeze anything out of the Trubisky juice that might be there. Then the pro day happens. Everybody and a monkey's uncle is there rooting on Malik Willis. You got Mike Tomlin having dinner with the dude, which is very unsurprising. You got the entire Steelers brass there smiling ear to ear watching this young man throw a football. I mean, if he falls to him, I think he might.
Yeah, okay. What if he doesn't fall to him? What if he doesn't fall to him? Do you think at this point it could be more safe than we expected to say the Steelers might be making a move for a quarterback?
Look, I didn't foresee them moving up and getting Devin Bush like they did a few years ago. Would I be surprised if they pulled the trigger on the trade to go get Malik Willis? No. But I would err more to the side of they have done enough in free agency to not hit the panic button and feel like they need to make a move for a guy on draft day. I think the moves that they have done through free agency have comfortably put them in a spot to sit there at pick number 20 and take the best player available, whether that's a quarterback, whether that's a corner, whether that's a wide receiver, whatever it might be. I think the Steelers kind of set themselves up nicely to say, hey, you know what? If he falls, sure. If he's within striking range to where we can move up and we can trade away capital we feel comfortable giving away to go and get him, sure. I don't know. I mean, you see a guy like Daniel Jeremiah, who recently released his third mock draft of the offseason, didn't have Malik Willis going into top 32.
Nope.
And then you hear sides of, the other side of the coin where the Lions really like Malik Willis, the Panthers really like Malik Willis, and it's almost to the point where, you feel like somebody's going to take him very early. You just don't know who. And whether or not that's the Steelers, I'm not quite sold on it.
I think I am much more sold on it today than I was. The pro day, I get the overreactions to the pro day. Last year it was Zach Wilson. People, oh my gosh, that was the greatest pro day throw in the history of pro days. And everybody's just like, dude, he's throwing against air with the dudes he's been throwing with for the past 4 seasons to air in the indoor facility. No elements whatsoever. This is the easiest thing in the whole world. It's an overreaction. It's people freaking out about nothing. The taking Malik Willis out to dinner thing, I don't know. Because if it wasn't a quarterback, would we still feel like it's nothing? If they were taking TJ Watt out to dinner, which I believe they did, would you be like, oh, that's nothing? Or would you be like, oh, they love TJ Watt?
I would kind of find myself in the middle. I would be like, all right, well, they're clearly interested in this guy. But if it happens, it happens, And I think that goes back to the thinking of they got Trubisky. Worst case scenario, they roll into a quarterback competition. with Trubisky and Rudolph heading into the new season. If a guy like Willis or Pickett falls to them at 20, cool. If not, oh well. Second round, day 2, might be a good opportunity to go get another couple of guys that you have previously talked about on the podcast. I don't know, man. I obviously think the interest is more so there for Willis as opposed to Pickett. And I also don't want to make a big deal about only like 2 head coaches being there at Pickett's Pro Day too. I think a lot of them saw what they wanted to see out of him at the Combine. And people were making a big deal out of Mr. Rooney being there at Pickett's Pro Day. The dude's got to walk downstairs.
Mr. Rooney was at Pickett's. I was at Pickett's Pro Day. I didn't see Art Rooney anywhere. I don't think Art Rooney was there. Kevin Colbert was. The whole Steelers thing was there, but they were running the show. It was all the Steelers. Terrell Austin was doing the defensive backs. Tomlin was there. Canada was there. Every single – you had to walk across the building.
Well,
the Steelers
are already there. Like, they got the grill on for lunch 4 days a week.
That's what I'm saying. They literally have to walk through the indoor facility. They could get out of their car, go right. It's about 12 steps, and boom, they're at Pitt's Pro Day. Super easy. Don't make anything out of that. Matt Rule being there, I think, spoke volumes, though, because everybody was at Malik Willis's. Matt Rule was the only dude at Kenny Pickett's. And Matt Rule and Kenny Pickett, they got history.
That's true.
And the Carolina Panthers need a quarterback. I don't know. I think that spoke more than people not being there. I didn't really care about. Matt Rule being the only guy that showed up kind of gave me the hint, maybe Carolina is really feeling Kenny Pickett here. What do they have, 6? They're pick 6?
Yeah, pick 6. So more pro days to keep your eye out for. Matt Corral throws on Wednesday, and then Desmond Ridder throws on Thursday. Apparently, there was nobody at Carson Strong's pro day from the Steelers. I don't know how accurate that is. I just did a quick little search, and I couldn't find anything on them. And then Sam Howell's pro day is next Monday, March 28th.
So I think I've started to evolve my quarterback thought in the NFL draft. Okay. And if I'm the Pittsburgh Steelers, I believe, actually not if I'm the Pittsburgh Steelers, I believe that the Pittsburgh Steelers have eliminated all middle to end round quarterbacks. I think at this point, they're thinking we're either getting one of the top 2, maybe the top 3, depending on who your top 3 is. Nobody else. After that, what's the difference? We already have, might as well just go get Josh Dobbs. It makes no sense to bring in another Dwayne Haskins, another Mason Rudolph, another Mitchell Trubisky.
That has been my entire drumbeat to this offseason. Is if you're going to go and get a quarterback, make sure it's a top guy you feel really confident in, as opposed to getting another project.
Oh yeah, that's what I'm saying. So that's exactly my point. So I think that once the second round hits, maybe and I want to answer this in the same thought. Maybe a guy like Desmond Ridder, I won't give up on Desmond Ridder. That being said, if Mike Tomlin and Kevin Colbert aren't there on Thursday, it's over. It's over. Remove them from the list. But I think Desmond Ridder, maybe Matt Corral could be the Steelers' choice there. I think anybody after that, they're thinking, why would we? Doesn't make any sense.
Let me ask you this before we move on. Do you think the reinvigorated interest in Malik Willis does anything for the Steelers? Because we sat here right after the Steelers signed Mitch Trubisky, and we were like, all right, well, quarterback looks like it might be off the menu there at pick number 20. Obviously, that's something you can go back and forth on. Do you think the reemergence of, the Steelers love Malik Willis, Mike Tomlin wouldn't have had chicken wings with him, this and that. Do you think there's anything? Do you think the Steelers already having Trubisky would make a move for Willis?
Oh, okay. So there's 2 sides of me here. There's the side of me that says yes, that's reading into all this and just saying the Pittsburgh Steelers do wear their hearts on their sleeves. They've never not worn their hearts on their sleeves. Why wouldn't they do it now? You know what I mean? And if Malik Willis, they could wear their heart on their sleeve and understand that maybe he's way too high up in the draft for them.
Yeah.
But Mike Tomlin and Kevin Colbert are ridiculously smart. And they are ridiculously good at understanding where and when to invest themselves. Why would they invest themselves in a guy like Malik Willis as heavily as they have to just be sitting back and going, there's a pretty good chance that he goes at 6, but like we'll just hope that he falls to us at 20. You know what I mean?
I do want to piggyback off of that. Kevin Colbert did say before he departs the Steelers, he wants to leave them with their next franchise quarterback. All I'm gonna say. All I'm saying.
I think the trail's there. You could follow it or you could choose not to follow it. I don't think either one is the wrong answer right now.
Yeah.
I'm just saying that they have most certainly laid some groundwork.